What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be moving on to the SVA 545. We've had a lot of questions about this one, so let's dive into it. And we're going to start off with our damage profile. With this gun, it's going to be a 5 to 7 shot kill. It doesn't deal a lot of damage. And to top that off, you have to hit at least 3 of your shots to the bonus zone, which in this case is anywhere in the torso, including the lower torso, as well as the arms. At least 3 of your bullets need to hit in that zone if you want to maintain that 5-shot kill. Otherwise, it'll be a 6-shot kill if you mix too many leg shots in there. Additionally, headshots aren't super useful with this gun because you need to mix 3 headshots in combined with those bonus shots if you want to cut this down to a 4-shot kill. So it's not looking amazing damage-wise for this gun. However, we have a very interesting rate of fire. For the first 2 rounds that you fire every single time you pull the trigger, those are going to come out at 1,200 rounds per minute, which is ridiculously fast. Those come out back-to-back very, very quickly. But then if you hold the trigger, every round after that's going to be coming out at 682 rounds per minute. What this means for our time to kill potential, assuming we hit those first 2 shots, so we take advantage of that really fast fire rate at first, our time to kill potential is the best in the assault rifle category to the body at about 262 milliseconds. Keep in mind, this is a hand-tested value since we do have that weird rate of fire situation going on. It's not as easy to just simply do the math. So this is how long it actually takes to fire those rounds at 120 FPS. However, I want to point out, if you were to miss those 2 shots initially and you just keep holding the trigger down and you're relying on that slower fire rate at 682 rounds per minute, now our 6-shot time to kill potential is 350 milliseconds, which is quite slow for an assault rifle in this game. So definitely high risk, high reward when it comes to that. Also, I want to point out, if we manage to get those 3 headshots mixed in with an upper torso shot, and again, we hit those first 2 rounds, we can get a headshot time to kill potential of 174 milliseconds, which is insanely fast. Now, I know the big question that many of you guys have on your mind right now is, what if you just tap fire this, or even switch it to the quote-unquote semi-auto mode, which is actually a 2-round burst mode? In that case, you get to take advantage of that 1200 RPM rate of fire. However, when we're looking at this, we have a roughly 60 millisecond burst delay combined with the fire time from the previous shot. And what this means is if you use this in that semi-auto mode, or you just tap fire it consistently, you're actually getting a slower time to kill potential at 370 milliseconds for a 6-shot kill, which is not a very good time to kill in this game. So raw power-wise, at least, you are holding yourself back if you tap fire with this gun. But in saying that, it does feel really good to tap fire this, and that's mainly due to the recoil benefits. And at longer ranges especially, it is often worth it to just tap fire it. Even though you'll technically get a slower time to kill, you'll be hitting more shots more consistently, so realistically, you may end up with a faster time to kill. And with that out of the way, let's move into our range values. And with this, as we can see, our 5-shot kill potential extends out to a little bit over 30 meters, whereas our 6-shot kill potential will extend out to over 50 meters. That's actually a pretty impressive range. So it definitely excels in that department, and also our bullet velocity is the best in the assault rifle category at 760 meters per second, which is amazing. As for hardcore, this gun is only a 1-shot kill to the torso and arms in that maximum damage range. If you hit them in the leg there, it will be a 2-shot kill, and anything beyond that will be a 2-shot kill to the body as well, although we do have an infinite 1-shot kill to the head and neck. So it may not look amazing for hardcore compared to some of the other guns, but when you factor in the fact that those 2 shots are coming out basically immediately together, they're almost always going to hit the same spot, and as a result, this gun is actually much better than it may seem for hardcore game modes. After that, let's have a look at Hipfire, and really there's nothing out of the ordinary here. We're basically right on average for our Hipfire spreads, whether that's standing still or moving with the SVA 45. Next, when it comes to recoil, this gun has a fair amount of vertical recoil, and it also tends to lean a little bit toward the left. However, for the most part, this is a pretty controllable recoil pattern, aside from the first few rounds, which are, of course, the most important rounds that you're firing. You can see they tend to jump around a little bit, and this is due to that hyperburst at the beginning. So if you are trying to create a more accurate build, you definitely want to focus a lot on gun kick to really cut down that bounciness for the first few rounds. As for handling stats, our aim down sight speed is a little bit below average at 250 milliseconds. That's still very reasonable though. And our sprint to fire time is also a little bit slower than average for assault rifles, especially our tactical sprint to fire time. I did notice this is quite a bit slower than many of the other assault rifles. Then for our reload add time, this is a little bit on the slow side at 1.7 seconds, so you definitely want to make sure you're planning out your reloads or combining this with mag holster. And then finally, for the base stats of this gun, let's get into our mobility stats. And when it comes to this, we're above average for assault rifles in every single area, whether that's base movement speed, sprint movement speed, or aim walking movement speed. It's looking pretty good for the SVA 545. And now that we have all of the base stats out of the way, we can finally move into some excellent attachment combinations I've got for you guys. And the first one I'm going to be sharing is what I'm going to call the balanced accuracy build. Now, to be clear, you can make a more accurate build than this, and this is why I call it the balanced accuracy build, because I just tried to ensure I wasn't sacrificing too much in other key areas, like aim down sight speed, for instance. But with this one, we're using the T5 1R billeted brake combined with the Bruin heavy support underbarrel, and that one's very important with this gun because it has a lot of gun kick, and this underbarrel helps a ton with your gun kick, so that's great to have. We also have the main V6 stock, the Mark III reflector, because I really don't like the iron sights on this gun, and then finally I topped this off with the SZ 1mW PEC laser, which is a non-visible laser, and it just helps with aiming stability, because I felt with the other attachments that's the one area that was really lacking, and this tightens that up very, very nicely. And as we can see here, we've got a very accurate gun on our hands. This cuts down on the recoil quite considerably. However, in order to gain that power, we are sacrificing some aim down sight speed. It's now 275 milliseconds, which is noticeably slower than the base, but still definitely pretty solid for an assault rifle. Also, our sprint out time is slightly slower. You probably don't want to be super aggressive with this build. And another thing to point out here is we do lose about 5% to our ranges, which isn't too bad. It's worth it for the extra accuracy that we gain here. As for the second build I've got for you guys, this is if you want to be a lot more aggressive with the SVA 545, and also as a bonus, this one will keep you off the radar. And with this, we're using that integrated suppressed barrel, the NT Quietus suppressed barrel, combined with the XRK Edge BW4 hand grip. We once again have that Mark III reflector. We have the Skelly folding stock, and then finally the Citadel grip. And with this particular build, we get an amazing aim down sight speed at 199 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is also quite nicely improved with this. Our aim walking movement speed's pretty incredible for an assault rifle, so you can strafe corners really, really well, or just strafe side to side in a gunfight to be dodging shots. And while it's certainly not as accurate as the previous build I shared for you guys, it is a little bit more accurate than the base version of this gun. And that's okay, because this setup isn't designed to be challenging people like across the map or anything. This is designed more for aggression, so you shouldn't be challenging anything beyond like mid-range anyway. And that's good to know because we are taking a pretty big hit to our range values as well. This will be reducing our ranges by 20%. That shouldn't be a huge deal as long as you're keeping yourself within those close to medium ranges. And this leaves us with one last build, and I'm actually going to share a burst build for you guys. So with this, it's designed to be used in the quote-unquote semi-auto mode, but it's technically 2-round burst. And I know I said at the beginning, this doesn't give you the greatest time to kill out there, but especially at really long ranges, this gives you a huge accuracy advantage over many of the other guns in the game. And obviously, time to kill doesn't mean anything if you can't hit your shots, and with this gun, you should be hitting your shots very effectively. So on this, we have the STV Precision Barrel, the RF Crown 50 muzzle, the X10 Phantom 5 underbarrel, the main V6 stock, and the Mark III reflector, although you could even use a higher zoom optic on this if you like. I just don't really like high zoom optics myself. But with this, you can see this is an incredibly accurate setup when you swap it over to semi-auto mode. You could also keep this in full auto and just tap fire it as much as possible. You'll get basically the same results while maintaining the ability to go full auto. But with this build, we are taking a fairly big hit to our aim down sight speed. It's now 299 milliseconds. So it's clear this build is designed for more hanging back and picking people off at range. Almost treat it like a DMR, for instance. But one nice thing about this is we do get a bit of an increase to our damage ranges at 12.5%. I'll admit, this is not my preferred setup, but I just wanted to share an alternative for those of you guys that do like using this in burst mode. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the SVA 545. As for my thoughts on this gun, I really like it. I think it's a good, like, high risk, high reward sort of a gun. It definitely isn't the most consistent gun in the game, and especially if you have like a bad connection, I notice this gun can really suck. But in saying that, when the connection is good and your shot is on point and you're taking advantage of those first 2 shots fired, you actually get the best time to kill potential to the body out of the assault rifles. So the power is definitely there, you just have to be able to take advantage of it, and I do think it makes for a very interesting gun that I enjoy using. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts on the SVA 545, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. Also, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes of Gun Guides, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.